Hello, fellow Doodle lab rats. I'm Bob Donahue. My wife Barb and I own Marketing by Barb Donahue. Barb's the marketing guru and I have the artistic and video talent, so I'll be doing this tutorial for you. A few of you have expressed an interest in learning how to trace an image using Inkscape. Some of you want to get rid of double lines in an existing vector image, and some of you simply want to create your own doodle images. This tutorial will cover both situations. When I create a doodle video, about 90% of the images I use are Doodle Labs images. Believe me, I'd rather use Doodle Labs images 100% of the time, as using Doodle Labs images reduces my production time by, I'd say, over 50%. Obviously, that's not realistic. It's impossible for Doodle Labs to create every image needed by their customers. So it's nice to know I have the ability to create my own images or modify Doodle Labs images when and if the need arises. And hopefully after watching this tutorial, you'll be able to do the same. In order to trace an image using Inkscape, you'll need the following: a computer drawing tablet. I've seen prices range from $30 up to several $100, depending on how many bells and whistles you want. The tablet I use is a very basic $40 tablet, and for my needs of tracing images, it works very well. Of course, you need Inkscape installed on your computer, and you'll also need a JPEG or PNG image of what you want to trace. The first thing you want to do is check the image size of the image you're going to be tracing. I've got a PNG image here of a brain. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a brain image in the Doodle Labs database. So when you hover over it, you can see the dimensions are 450 by 450. So now that I know that, I can go back to Inkscape and get started tracing it. First thing you want to do is click on File, Document Properties, and you want to adjust the width and height to the same width and height as the JPEG or PNG that you're going to be tracing. Change this width to 450 and the height to 450, and just click on Close and it'll automatically save those dimensions. You can see it increased a little bit there. Now you want to import the image that you're going to be tracing, the JPEG or PNG image. Click on File, Import, select the image that you'd like to trace, the PNG image, Open. Make sure that your settings are the same as I have in this pop-up window: Embed, Default Import Resolution, and None. Click OK. Drag the image inside the window. And you can see this is why we set the document image size earlier, so that the image you import is the same size as the work area in Inkscape. Now you want to highlight layer 1 and go down here to the opacity settings and reduce that to about, I like 50%, whatever you feel comfortable with. This makes the image you're going to be tracing on top of lighter, so you can easier see where your strokes or pen strokes are going to be that trace over the image. Now you want to click the lock button so you don't trace over your PNG or JPEG image by mistake. Click the plus sign and create a new image or layer that you're going to be drawing on top of the original image that you're tracing. I like to call it trace You can do whatever you want that'll make it easier for you. Click Add, and now you've got the layer where you're going to be tracing onto. Click the trace layer to make it active. Now you're going to be using the pencil tool to do all your tracing. Click on that and you'll see a box where you're going to be selecting your stroke style and paint color, the color of your stroke. Most of the time it's going to be blacks, and that's what we're going to be using here. Now, using your tablet and pen, you want to draw a temporary line close here so you can match up the width of the existing line to what you want to draw. It doesn't have to be exact. If you'd like to make these lines thinner, fine, it doesn't matter. I like to usually match up what I'm drawing to very close to what the existing line width is. Now you want to click on stroke style, and that gives you the width. Now I happen to have had these set because I have just recently done a tracing of this brain, but you know, it may have been, you know, like around 4 pixels wide. That's too thin, so you would just make the adjustment right here, and I know it's 7 is about the right width I want these strokes to be. Now, Inkscape will usually default to black, but in case it doesn't and it's showing a stroke color in a different color than you want, just click on Stroke Paint and select the colors over here that you would like your stroke to be. I'm going to go back to Stroke Style. Now you want to set the default stroke for every stroke that you're going to make to be the same stroke width. I'm going to double click on the pencil, and this pop-up window comes up. Just scroll down till you see Take from Selection. Click on it and close it. That will freeze, so every stroke that you make will be the same width and be consistent. Now you want to click on the selection tool, click on the stroke so that it's selected. We want to delete that. We were just using that to size up the dimensions of the stroke and pixel width. Just click delete or tap delete on your keyboard, or you can click on edit, delete here, and get rid of that. Now we're ready to start tracing. Go back and select the pencil tool again. One thing before you start tracing, you want to have your smoothing set. You'll notice that most lines in doodle images are fairly smooth. They're not jaggy or wavy. I like to set this at 64. If it was set to 2 or 3 and you did pen strokes on your tablet, it would be jerky. So the higher you have it, the more smooth and consistent your strokes are going to be. You don't want it too high, or the strokes could get to be straight. So see how jerky it is, but then it will automatically smooth it out for you. So let's get rid of that, and we'll start tracing. Now this is going to take a little bit of practice to get used to the hand-eye coordination, drawing on a tablet, laying on your desk and looking at the images that it's drawing on your computer screen. But with a little bit of practice, you'll get used to it and it'll become pretty natural. Now, one thing you want to do is draw or trace the image in the same order that you would normally draw it on a piece of paper, because your video software, your doodle software that you're going to be using, draws out the lines in the same order that you draw them out. So you don't want to, if you're doing somebody's a body image, you don't want to draw the feet first and then the head, then the body, so forth. You want to do it like it would normally be drawn on a piece of paper. So you got to keep that in mind. You can't jump around. You don't want to jump around and trace different parts at different times. Okay, so put your pen where you want to start and just use slight pressure and start tracing over it, and you'll see that it makes an end and a beginning point. You don't have to worry about being exact. Now, and there's some cases that you definitely want to be exact. I don't like that. I didn't like what I did there, so I'm going to hit the delete key and start over. Oh, let's get this a little better. There we go. And you want to start on top of an ink stroke. You won't always want to try to keep your, press too long there. You always want to keep your strokes connected if you possibly can. Stroke down. And if you've got long strokes, don't try to keep one long stroke. You can stop and then continue, and it'll make the strokes more consistent and the curves more consistent and accurate. You'll understand whenever you start playing around with it and practice. So that's it. I'm not going to bore you with watching me draw the whole image. I'm going to draw it out, and thanks to fast forward, we'll come back when I'm just about done with it. Oh, I am going to mention one other thing that I forgot to mention to you. This image is fairly easy to trace. It's a simple image. But if you have an image where it's a person and it has small facial features and so forth, it makes it a lot easier if you zoom in on the image. And you do that by coming down to this area in the bottom right-hand corner to increase or decrease the image. And you'll see, and you can use your scroll bars here to move around the image as you're drawing whenever you're zoomed into it. And the bigger the lines are here, the easier it is to trace it. And you can, and usually you'd want to go in the middle here. Zoom in and out as necessary and make it easier for yourself to trace. Okay, so I will go ahead and finish the tracing and get back to you when there's just a few strokes left so you can see how to finish it up and save it. Okay, as you can see, I'm just about finished with the brain here. Just a couple more strokes to do. There. And now we're finished. Now we want to go down the bottom right corner and zoom back to 100%. Sometimes it just goes to 101 automatically, so you have to go in and manually change that to 100. Since we're done with the pencil tool, we'll click on the selection tool and click on the image so it goes to the 100%. Now, other than tracing accurately, this is one of the most important parts. This is how you save it, and doing it in a way that your sketch software reads it correctly so that it draws out in your software correctly. Now we're going to save it in two different SVG formats. First one will be just a standard SVG that you want to save this in case you need to go back and work on it, tweak it a little bit, or whatever. Unlock layer 1, click on File, Save As, and name it. Now I already have the brain that I did because I'm actually going to use this brain, the brain that I previously did in one of my doodle videos. So I'll name this something else. I'll name it brain demo and leave the default save type as is regular SVG. And I want to save it in the brain section. Brain demo, save. Now we want to get rid of the PNG or JPEG image that you were tracing on top of, and that's the layer 1 here. Click on that, select the layer 1, click the minus, and that will delete that layer that you were tracing on top of. Select Trace, File, Save As. Now this is very important. You don't want to leave it as the Inkscape, standard Inkscape. You want to save it as optimized. And you want to change this, because this will overwrite it. Even though it's optimized, it will still save it as an SVG file. So I usually save my final traced image as a trace extension, so I can tell the difference between the one that I saved with the PNG image and trace image on top, so that I might need to work on later, as opposed to what I'm going to use as the final image in my video software. So we'll name this Trace. Save, and you'll have a pop-up window. Make sure that these are the only two selections: shorten value, color values, and group collapsing. Leave these areas down here at the default. This is what allows it to draw out correctly and ungroup the strokes. Click on OK, and now that's it. You're done with it. Now I'm in Easy Sketch Pro, and I'm going to import the image that I just created. Let's see here. We did brain demo trace. This is the image I want. I'm going to open it, click done, and now we click on play, and son of a gun, it draws out perfectly. And that's it. It's fairly easy once you get used to it. Oh, I hope this was helpful. I'm not a professional speaker, as you can well hear and see, but tried to give you some hints and tips that will help you out here, and maybe help you make your doodle videos a little bit more professional and eliminate some headaches for you. Take care, have a great day, and we'll be talking to you online soon.